Hey, good afternoon. Robert here. This video is going to talk about muting. So, mute to mute is to silence, right? On ukulele specifically, and I guess any string instrument, you hear a lot of this with metal or heavy rock guitarists. They use a couple techniques to really get a crunch and crispness to their sound. So what I'm going to do, this shouldn't be a super long video, but I want to just show you some of the songs, covers, originals that I have worked on that have some sort of muting technique. And I'll switch instruments a little bit. I'll probably pan the camera up and down so you can see some different things. Alright, so you have a left and right hand, right? Whether you're, doesn't matter if you're a lefty or a righty uke player. You have two hands. And you have a fretting hand type of mute and a strumming hand or picking hand mute. So let's start with the fretting hand. You keep your strum the same, okay? Now what I'm going to do, this is the song Code Monkey by Jonathan Coulton. And I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just play the intro because that's kind of where it's important. But what I'm going to do, it starts with the C chord. So here's without muting. And it goes into it. Check this out. So, I'm playing a C chord, right? I want everything to be muted, but not capoed or barred, right? So I don't want that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay my finger over top of the nut. You hear how it's still that open tuning. Now I'm going to do that, and you can adjust. You can be obviously behind the nut, you're not going to get much. On the nut, you'll get a little bit. And then you get almost into that Z chord territory, right? So I'm going to play a C chord with that guy it's just resting on the nut and a little bit forward. The same amount of pressure you would play a harmonic, right? You're just getting it to stop vibrate. So here's the difference. Without, with. Hear how it's more rhythmic right off the bat? So, cold monkey, get up, get coffee. Cold monkey, go to job. Cold monkey, a boring meeting with boring manager Rob. It just kind of explodes as soon as you stop that mute. Right? Now, I took that same technique, and one of my early originals was called Shirts. And same idea. So I played it in a different key. And for this, here, I'll scroll down just a bit. I'm muting the whole thing, but I'm just trying to get that low G. Okay, so you can do that with any chord, right? Now here's another way, and this is a type of muting trick that you do see taught quite a bit. And it works great with any bar chord. So if you play a B flat, all right, so that's just okay. Now, if you let up, you kind of pulse. When you let up, it stops the note from sounding, right? So you can do instead of okay, I'm gonna tune real quick. Do you hear the difference though? You get ba 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 ba, kind of this legato, instead of ba 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 ba, where there's an obvious release to it, instead of it just being released by the playing of the next strum, right? So you can do that anywhere. You can do verses. And again, all I'm doing is I'm just pulsing down. Let's see, if I do like, you can hardly notice it, but it's just enough that it's not stuck at that fret anymore, right? You'll see that I'll link to Christopher Davis Shannon's channel, Banjo Tin Man. He does a lot of that Tin Pan Alley music from the 20s, 30s, and it all has that because it's very fast, and there's always an element of right. So those are the two most common fretting hand mutes. Doing something over the nut, okay, and then doing that pulse. Okay, now down to the strumming hand. This is called palm muting. They don't call it palm muting up here for whatever reason, but if you can put your finger over the nut, you can also play over the saddle and do the same kind of thing. So obviously you can't put a finger there because then you don't have any fingers to finger pick, but you can use the heel of your hand, right? This fatty part here, just like that. So same thing. I'm gonna lower this down a little bit just so you can see more of that. So without it, and the low G really kind of demonstrates this. Right? And you can control, depending on how your heel is, whether you get all the strings or some of the strings, and you can change it mid-play as you develop this technique. So here's a quick piece that I've been working on. It'll probably be an instrumental. So it uses a combination of that palm muting and then not palm muting. So here's a little bit of it. Also has some hammer-ons in there too. mostly palm muting with that hammer on. Okay. Another example is, let me switch to the Guitalele really quick. I did 2 songs with this idea. I love doing it on Guitalele because of the low strings, but same technique, heel right over the saddle there. So this one, it's called Celestial Reset, and the verse, you can think of it in 11/8, or you can think of it in alternating 5/8, 6/8. So, but I use the palm muting to give me that clarity. Get the idea? I should have mentioned during the chorus it does go just into a 6/8, 3/4 kind of feel. Notice how this is mostly affecting rhythm, okay? Right? So, another kind of bass line feel. This one, what was this called? I can't remember what this original was called, but very similar, like really taking advantage of this low A string. Now, for this one, I'm actually using a combination of the two. So, heel is here the whole time, unless I get the... And to get that tone, I'm actually playing way down by the bridge too. So then, notice I'm kind of doing this tap. It's just a percussive element. Not using it to play, it's literally a tap, right? And you get that tap by those strings hitting those metal frets. So you'll see a lot of my songs have this kind of palm muting, and this video should come out after my 5 tips on thinking as a multi-instrumentalist. A lot of this palm muting technique comes from playing electric bass in high school. So, you know, if you play a low E string on a bass and you don't mute it, it just rings forever, right? I just picked up a 5-string electric bass, and that B string, you know, imagine this note, but like 3 octaves down. If you just let that ring forever, and your amp starts to feed back and kind of rumble, it could really mess up a tune. So, all right, last one. I almost forgot about this one. This is the tune I used for my NPR Tiny Desk contest entry this year. It's called For Now. And again, thinking like a bass player, I took this idea from the way Victor Wooten mutes and gets a little in the middle of his melodic and rhythmic lines. So it's kind of a mix. There's so I'm playing that F chord, and I again pulse like that second method I told you with the fretting hand. So check this out. So this is fretting hand stuff and then finger picking. Alright, yeah, so For Now. So that uses mostly the left muting technique, but finger picking instead of strums. So there you go. Palm muting and fret muting. Think about it as your left hand and right hand, or your fretting hand or your strumming hand, either over the nut or pulsing those chords, so like lifting up but not fully away from the strings, and then over the saddle with the heel of your hand, and to varying degrees. If you want to listen to some great examples of this outside of ukulele, like I mentioned, with ukulele, definitely check out Christopher Davis Shannon's page and some of his Tin Pan Alley style music and ragtime, things like that. But outside of ukulele, listen to metal. Listen to metal guitarists when they gent, DJ-E-N-T. You get that kind of sound. That's a combination of picking and muting, so they're just getting that front end of the sound. So there you go. I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment down below. Let me know if you try any of these techniques. I would love to hear your examples. Over on Instagram, you can DM me or send me a voice memo. I love that stuff. That is Robert Rowe Music on Instagram. Let me know what you think. And if this is your first time checking this out, check out some of my other stuff. Hit that subscribe button, bell notification if you want to hear about future things I'm doing, whether it's covers, originals, tutorials like this. And I'll see you next time. I do these about once a week. Cheers.